my style all week. Craving chocolate trees, checking pants, checking seeds, sipping herbal tea and fight for menstrual equity. Jeez. Hey, I get cramps at. Get cramps at. Get cramps, get cramps. Get cramps, get cramps, get cramps, get cramps, get cramps, get cramps, get cramps. You're now tuned in to the Kick Cramps Ass podcast with your host, Brittany Walker, advocating for menstrual equity, period poverty, and womb wellness. New episodes on Menstruation Mondays.
Welcome to the Kick Cramps Ass podcast, where I am your host, Brittany Walker, and you have made it to episode 16, Purified to the Fullest. Happy Menstruation Monday. It is Monday, September 11th, 2023, and we are going to be tackling the 15th chapter of Kick Cramps Ass, a blueprint to naturally get rid of menstrual cramps. And let me apologize. Let me give the full title: N&G's formula to kick cramps as a blueprint to naturally get rid of menstrual cramps. All right, guys. So we've been talking about this book all season long. So this is basically season 1 is an audiobook version of our blueprint. So we read each chapter. We give you additional applicable details that will be conducive to you achieving optimal menstrual wellness. All right, guys. So we like to kick off each episode with the I am power statement. I representing inspiration, A representing affirmation, and M representing manifestation. And today's I am power statement is: I am open to reevaluating the true value that alcohol adds to my body and will make the best decisions for my womb after these discoveries. Ashe. So there it is. You know, we always are sipping on something good in our Kick Cramps Ass mug. And of course, we are indulging in our Cramp elixir, which you can find on our website. It has all these really, really great herbs and ingredients that are really beneficial for your womb and really for your overall optimal wellness. It will not only assist you physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. So chapter 15, Purified to the Fullest. Results suggest that alcohol use premenstrually was related to the premenstrual symptom profiles, whereas women whose alcohol use increased premenstrually had the highest premenstrual symptoms in areas of emotional well-being. Carroll and their team in 2015. My name is Brittany, and I am an alcoholic. I will never forget the day that I finally accepted this truth. It was February 2020, and my tea lady, again, guys, tea lady is your mom in the South, stopped me in a mid-conversation one afternoon and told me that I was an alcoholic. She mentioned that I talked about how many drinks that I had each day. In denial, of course, I did not think that 3 extra strong whiskey sours or 3 glasses of Pinot Noir, really 7 cups, because I would literally fill the 12-ounce glass to the rim, like a 12-ounce classic wine glass. There's a difference between a white wine glass and a red wine glass, just FYI for those of you who don't know. Every night was extreme. I mean, it was excessive to have these amounts after having dinner in a restaurant with 2 premium straight up and chilled Manhattans in my system. For those of you who don't know, Manhattan's is a whiskey martini. Or on the days I drove through the daiquiri shop during happy hour to get 3 shots for $1 in their largest size of their strongest drink. It is recommended that women only drink 1 cup of alcohol, which is 2 ounces of liquor with a mixer, or 1 glass of wine, which is only 5 ounces daily. Leaving the conversation exasperated, I continued with my routine because I was not indulging in any illegal substances. That led to rehab back in 2008. So what was the issue? 2 months went by and I endured so much stress from my full-time corporate job with major transitions, layoffs, plus remote work training due to the COVID-19 pandemic. My part-time position as a biology professor, which also transitioned to 100% remote, and a chief operating officer position of a nonprofit catering to uterine health issues and battling many obstacles in my own personal life. Overloaded was an understatement. Yet I still managed to press forward and service all areas at 100% capacity, leaving me to bask in my liquid pleasures every evening. The eating of these chemicals, drugs, aspirin, depressants, and imidafines indirectly causes robotized nutritional slavery, which limits the range of thoughts and wellness. A quote, a quote and a statement written by Dr. Lila O. Africa in his book, African Holistic Healing. The case studies have proven that 90% of my cramps had disappeared. It was to the point that I could go several months without having a single cramp, then out of nowhere, cramps would surface for only 1 month. I experienced this 3 times between the beginning of 2019 until the summer of 2020. On April 6, 2020, or 2020, however you would like to say it, I went on an alcohol cleanse for 7 weeks. The goal was to go on a 60 days um, to break the habit of relying on alcohol to cope with what life was throwing my way. A mango margarita. That is what I drank that caused me to not meet my goals by 8 measly days. It was satisfying at the moment, but the headache and nausea in the morning was out of this world. My body could never regurgitate. However, the nausea felt like a spiritual attack, almost as if my soul was whimpering, "Why did you do this to us?" After nourishing my body, the headache and abrogating feeling diminished. I went all week without a drink, but decided the following weekend that I would indulge in a cup of wine. What do you know? I had another headache and the same gloomy feeling within my soul. Went on another week without drinking, that had a daiquiri the following weekend. Now, this time I did not have a headache, but the unfavorable sensation surfaced 10 times. My body was literally so weak as if I contracted a virus. It had not resonated with what was really happening at this moment, so of course, I continued about life. Went another week without alcohol, then indulged in a rum punch from a restaurant that I frequently dined at. First thing in the morning, a mild headache and similar adverse reaction spiritually. The final week was near, and I took a trip to Austin, Texas for an event on June 27, 2020. Had a whiskey sour with Maker's Mark. However, my body did not wait until the morning to quarrel, but within 2 hours of consuming it, I was so ill that I could barely move. My head was spinning. I kept feeling like I needed to heave, but no food or liquid would eject. This would be the very last day that I take a sip of alcohol. My body kept talking, but I was not listening. After having tequila, wine, rum, whiskey over a span of a month and continued to get ill from each one, it was time for me to throw in the towel. I have always been surrounded by liquor, whether it was at a bar, at my parents' house, a bar, at my house after I moved out, at events, because in our culture, we love to eat and drink for any occasion. By the time I was 22, I had a TABC, which allowed you to serve alcohol in Texas. So this tied in perfectly, being a mixologist and a chef. Alcohol is literally plastered everywhere in the media, restaurants, and even tourist destinations. It saddens me when I hear individuals say that they are bored, so they will drink to fulfill their needs versus engaging in personal or professional development. I literally was steal liquor from my dad's bar in increments so I could not get caught, and this was in middle school. After drinking consistently for 19 years, it felt good to say farewell to alcohol. At the end of the day, alcohol provides no nutritional value, and a chemical and toxin, in addition, adds sugar into the body. A quick way to get rid of that stubborn belly fat is to get rid of the booze. Or have you ever wondered how your mental health may continuously be impaired due to the amount of alcohol in your body? Just think about it. If you are mad and begin to drink, your emotions intensify. If you are sad and begin to drink, you may slip into a depression. When you add a chemical to an already imbalanced chemical state, this will only cause negative chemical reactions, not providing any equilibrium to your brain functions. So again, what good is it that alcohol is really doing to the body? July 2020, no cramps. August 2020, no cramps. September 2020, no cramps. Here is where I experience cramps every few months. October 2020, no cramps. November 2020, no cramps. December 2020, still no cramps. Saying goodbye to alcohol finally provided that 10% that I was missing to kick cramps' ass for good. 2021 was my first complete full year of not having a single cramp. Even when inflammation was at a 2 on a scale of 1 to 10, either my body temperature was off or I was overly stressed about a recent matter. Either way, it resulted in cramps and was easy to get rid of by regulating my temperature and using positive mental health tools to eliminate unwanted anxiety and stress. For those of you who suffer from endometriosis, PCOS, infertility, or other uterine health diagnosis, have you ever tried speaking to someone who holistically healed themselves from these illnesses? The first thing the goddess will do is advise that she let go of what she let go of in order to achieve victory over what has been troubling her womb. Unhealthy food choices, sugar, caffeine, and alcohol is what I have heard consistently of letting go. As saturated as society portrays the importance of alcohol, it does not provide any nutritional value and continues to burden our wounds. Yes, the contents makes us feel good, aids in self-medicating, and may give us liquid courage. However, those problems will still be there once you sober up. Once we no longer feel buzzed from the temporary, although sometimes fun fix, do you have the ability to make yourself happy without a substance for assistance? I'm going to sit there for just a couple of moments. I want that last statement to sit in, and I'm going to repeat it again. Once we no longer feel buzzed from the temporary, although sometimes fun fix, do you have the ability to make yourself happy without a substance for assistance? Wouldn't you want to have the tenacity to always speak your truth, and your is in caps, your truth, besides hiding behind a codependent factor? I'm going to repeat that one again. Wouldn't you want to have the tenacity to always speak your truth besides hiding behind a codependent factor? Even if you truly enjoy liquor and do not need it for any of the above mentioned reasons, does it have more pros versus cons when evaluating the positive health advantages? I'm also going to repeat that one again. Even if you truly just enjoy liquor and do not need it for any of the above mentioned reasons, does it have more pros versus cons when evaluating the positive health advantages? For those of you who cannot see me on video, so that means you might not be watching on Spotify, YouTube, my facial expressions are showing it all on what I really mean with all of these questions, because these are these aha moments, these are these epiphanies we need to start having to really evaluate, what does alcohol really do for our bodies? Back to reading, I'm going to finish out the chapter. Another aha moment, now that you know more about what could possibly be supplying your agony, what will your next move be? Purified to the fullest, and it feels so good. That's how we end this chapter. Chapter 15, Purified to the Fullest. Okay, so let's get into it, guys. I want you all to ask yourself this question. What values does alcohol provide to the body? Most people cannot answer that question for me when I ask them, when I'm at a workshop, when I'm speaking at an event, when I'm doing menstrual therapy. Nobody is able to successfully answer that question because there is not a proper answer for that question. Alcohol does not provide anything for the body except for energy. That is the only nutritional value that alcohol may add, is that it gives energy to the body. But guess what? That's what we have complex carbohydrates for. That is the main reason why we put carbohydrates into the body, to fuel us for energy. Okay? When it comes to alcohol, besides the energy, The remaining ingredients in alcohol are toxins, chemicals, and sugar. And we have discovered that those three factors are not conducive for achieving optimal wellness, especially for our wounds. So, for those of you who do drink alcohol because you're socially drinking because everybody else is, that means you're being a follower, not a leader. You may need to evaluate how you address things. If you're finding yourself that you always drink alcohol when you're going through something, you're stressed out, you're angry, you're pissed, you're sad, you're depressed, once you go through those emotions and you drink and it temporarily fixes those issues, when you sober up, those issues are still going to be there. And more than likely, they might be even more enhanced because you've just been allowing those feelings to fester within your body instead of positively in health and in a healthy manner, releasing those things and those energies of those things that you can't control. You only want to be able to have a positive reason why you use alcohol. And most people don't have that. Even if it's like, oh, I just want to have fun. I want to turn up. I want to be with my friends. We want to go party. We want to go do this. Okay, but why do you need a substance to do that? Can your friends not like you when you're not on a substance? Are you not fun when you're not on a substance? Do you not like who you are when you're not on a substance? Why do you have to be intoxicated, or why do you have to be in a different type of state of mind to come off as fun to people? If you have to do all that to appear as fun to somebody or be a friend to somebody, maybe you need to really evaluate who you are and what you have going. And is it that if you were in a sober state of mind, would you really even still be doing these things? Are the people around you that important and add that much value to your life that you have to fit yourself into a box to be liked by those people? Things to consider, things to really consider. I mentioned being younger. And I apologize. Let me use sanitizer, touching on my face and sniffling. Being younger, I've mentioned to you guys several times, I'm from Texas, but both sides of my family, Texas and Louisiana. So we literally, alcohol is with everything. Every family event, every family function, things that are going on, alcohol is included. Being in Louisiana, I remember the days that I could buy alcohol whenever I wanted to. I can go to all these different daiquiris shops, drive up and get my alcohol beverage and put it in my styrofoam cup and keep it moving. So for those of you who did not understand what I meant about the daiquiri shop, they're starting to put them in Texas now, but in Louisiana, there's infamous daiquiri shops. You literally, it's like a drive-through fast food place. You go to a menu, you pick out the beverage that you want, but they have specials throughout the week. So they have like 3-shot Tuesday where you can get 3 extra shots of rum, tequila, whatever is their liquor that they have based at those shops. And you can add those extra shots in addition to whatever daiquiri you've already made. They have jello shots, they have syringe shots, they have all different types of way, infused candy, infused gummies, all different types of things that you could do to incorporate alcohol into the body. It's cheap, it's easy. They're normally open 24 hours. And if they're not open 24 hours, they're open really, really late, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And you can get it anytime throughout the day, or when they open, if they're not 24 hours. And sometimes the ones that are not 24 hours will open at like 10 o'clock in the morning. So literally from 10 to like 3 a.m., you have accessibility just to drive through. Don't have to get out your car. You can get this really pretty looking drink, and it's full of alcohol. So it's everywhere. Let's even take it a step further. Being sick as a kid, we would drink hot toddies in the South. Hot toddies is a liquor-based drink. And it sounds crazy, like people are giving that to kids. It sounds ridiculous, but it's something that happens so common. I literally don't have a friend or even a cousin that I grew up with that did not have a hot toddy if they got sick or if they got a cold or if they got a flu. Because back in the day, even if we taking it back to slave days, drinking alcohol was a form of getting rid of illness because it's chemicals. It's supposed to wipe out and clean out whatever bacteria, infection, virus, or anything that's in your body. Think about it. If you watch like older movies, or if you watch like a war movie or a movie where like Is drug dealers involved, mafioso, mobsters, gangsters. If you watch something that has to do with like soldiers, Marines, Navy SEALs, if they're out in the field or they're getting shot or they're having a shootout or they get injured of some sort and they're not by a hospital or somebody that can patch them up, tend to them, nurse them back to health, they will open a bottle of alcohol and pour it on the wound to clean it out. That's how like potent alcohol is. Let's take it even a step further. We used to make a joke when I was in high school, telling my age, but early 2000s, so 20 plus years ago, how you could put Bacardi 151, which is a really strong liquor, you could pour that in your gas tank and start your car up. That's how potent alcohol is, guys. So you got to remember, if you're consistently putting that in your body year after year after year over time, you're going to start having negative health outcomes. Think about people that have been drinking alcohol for a very long time. Their eyes start to turn yellow. Their skin starts to turn darker. They start looking a little bit shriveled up. The chemical is literally eating away at their body. And then you might have an adverse reaction. Instead of starting to like lose weight and look shriveled up, you might gain a significant amount of weight. That is one of the reasons why I gained so much weight. When I was first diagnosed with diabetes, it didn't resonate with me. I'm like, how do I have diabetes in my mid-20s? At that point, I was barely 150 pounds. I'm 5'8". I was still working out, doing things, moving around. How is it that diabetes is affecting my body? It's because I was drinking so much alcohol. It's putting so much sugar content into my body. And that adds to the visceral, stubborn belly fat, that area in between your belly button and your vaginal area. That is hard to get rid of once you start consuming a lot of alcohol, because alcohol, once it gets into the body, your body absorbs and digests the energy portion from the alcohol. But the rest of that, if it's not pushed through as toxins through your liver and out with your urine and your feces, the rest of that builds up and starts forming unwanted mucus in the body, and it starts clogging the arteries, and it starts making these fat particles in your body that sticks to your stomach, which causes the visceral fat. That leads to obesity. Obesity, if like we talked about before, is like the gateway drug for chronic illnesses. How people say, oh, marijuana is the gateway drug to any other cocaine, heroin, Molly, ecstasy, all these things that they have out now. Obesity is the gateway drug to many chronic illnesses, because we've discussed with you before, 60% of the chronic illnesses and leading deaths in the United States, I'm sorry, not the world, in the United States, are contributed to your diet. So, Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and we're going to take it into while we're in womb health, fibroids, endometriosis, infertility. Alcohol has a negative effect on all of these things. I know people that suffer from endometriosis, and once they change their diet, once they change their medication, once they change what they were putting in on their body, their household products, things of that sort, and limiting their alcohol intake, their endometriosis got better. Their fibroids were reduced. They were removed. They didn't even start growing back. People that were infertile now had the availability to be fertile and have babies. These are things we want to think about. You think, well, why would people push for us to drink alcohol? Well, why would they push for anything else? It's capitalism. America is a business, and people need to start understanding that. America is a business. They're going to push whatever's going to make them money. And you have to understand, being sick in America is part of the business plan. Because if you're sick, guess what? Pharmaceutical companies are going to be able to continuously make money. Doctors are continuously going to be able to make money because they're offering you to get hysterectomies when it's time to remove fibroids. They're offering for you to, oh, you're infertile. It's okay. Just remove your uterus. That's going to smooth out all the other uterine health issues or the womb issues you could be having in your body. And that's not the case, because if you're still drinking alcohol, if you're still eating certain things, if you're still using certain products, these factors are going to continue to hinder your body. No matter if you get a hysterectomy, no matter if you have a different type of surgery, no matter if you take a certain type of medication, if you're still doing the habits that are causing these health issues within your body, you're going to continue to experience it. So again, what values does alcohol provide to the body? realistically, it's a crutch. If you're like, oh, I'm so pissed off, my mate made me mad, or my coworker made me mad, my neighbor made me mad, my mom is pissing me off again, my sister's getting on my nerves, and then you grab the alcohol. That's using it as a crutch, guys. You need to form other healthy habits that can be conducive to you combating those emotions as arise. Whether that's journaling, going on a hike, participating in a favorite hobby, meditating, getting some rest, taking a bath soak, reading, indulge in other activities that will be more conducive to you achieving optimal wellness. Now, the problem is, again, all of those issues are still going to be there when you sober up. So this is how alcoholism can come into play, because then if you keep going to the bottle, if you keep going to the pill, if you keep going to the drug, each time this issue happens, or it's still festering in your brain from when it initially happened, then you then become dependent on an substance. And that's how addiction comes into play. There are many alcoholics walking around that don't want to admit that they're alcoholics. If you have to drink every day, you're an alcoholic. If you rely on a substance each time something negative happens to you, you're an alcoholic. If you see that when you do drink, and if you drink one or two drinks, cool. But if you're drinking 3 or 4 drinks, then you got to take shots, and then you could drink all night long after that, you are an alcoholic, whether you want to believe it or not. It was one of the toughest things I had to hear. And even having my mom tell me, I didn't want to believe it, but I was an alcoholic. I was an alcoholic. I have been drinking alcohol my entire life. Again, going to family functions when I'm younger, going to New Year's Eve and seeing the adults toast. I want to have a sip. Getting a sip. Okay, you can only have a sip and that's it. Most people may seem that that's bad parenting, but it's very common, whether people want to believe it or not. I know people that will even give liquor to their kids, like, oh, take a sip of this, because they want them to go to sleep. It's the same way that parents that give their children Benadryl to go to sleep. It's not the right thing to do, but sadly, it's very common that people do these things. And then you wonder why your children grow up and start relying on alcohol or the bottle, because that is what was given to them when they were younger, to calm them down and chill them out. So what you think they're going to do when they have real adult life problems, bills, relationship problems, work issues, things as simple as road rage, people having an attitude with you at the grocery store? You got to learn better healthy habits to combat when you have issues happen, so you don't turn to alcohol, because it is not the best for the wound. Okay, guys? So again, once you're mindful that alcohol only provides energy to the body, everything else that it provides is a negative effect. Why? Because it's chemical reactions in the body. When you have your hormonal imbalance, if you have instantly go from sad to being angry, if you go from being happy to start crying, those are chemical reactions in the body. So if you're adding additional chemical to your body, you're going to have a negative chemical reaction. I have found myself in some of the worst situations. I have talked to you guys about my drug addictions, about my past addictions, and I have found myself being in really bad situations, i.e. getting in fights, i.e. having guns pulled on me, i.e. me pulling a gun on somebody else, things that are not, that I would not have done in a sober state of mind. All right. So you have to be mindful of the chemical reactions that happen to your body. Let's even take it a step further. Maybe people that have had alcohol that did not want to indulge in sexual activities, but they did it just because they were drunk. And they did it just because they were under the influence. But then when they woke up the next morning, they had to do that walk of shame. They felt bad because you allowed another body to enter your body because your mind was not in an applicable state. And then, did you protect yourself? Do you know what this person's history is? Are they a cleanly person? Are they practicing hygienic practices? Things that you, when you're under the influence, things that you might not be considering because you're having a chemical reaction in the brain and your brain is not properly thinking and having the best decision-making skills are coming into play. So you need to be mindful of that. All right. Very important. The other thing that I appreciate about alcohol and eliminating it is how much money I saved. My first year, I saved $10,000. $10,000. Because when you calculate going to happy hour every weekend, that's $200 I was spending easily Just at happy hour for 2 or 3 hours, I would go through like $200, paying for everybody to drink. We eat and we drink and we having a good time. Every time I would go out on the weekends, like going out to eat, I had at least 2 premium cocktails. If I'm hanging out with friends, we're brunching. Oh, we're doing bottomless mimosas. Or I know in Texas they do poinsettias as well. I don't know if they do that everywhere, but bottomless mimosas and poinsettias. Like, I'm going to be drinking. I kept a bar in my house, and I wasn't a uh like a typical, oh, I could buy this $10 bottles of liquor. Yeah, when I was younger in my 20s, but in my 30s, I want premium everything. I want Douce, I want everything premium. I don't want no basic just regular tequila. Bring me that Don Julio. I want that Reposado. I want that 1942. I would buy the best of the best because that would cause me not to have hangovers. It would cause me to keep going. It was the better form of liquor, so that cost more money. I'm traveling. I'm drinking all through vacation. Don't take me to an all-inclusive result. I'm drinking from the moment I wake up to the moment I go to sleep. If I wasn't at an inclusive vacation or a resort, if I'm here traveling in the United States, still I'm turning up, especially New Orleans. When I go back home to New Orleans, like, I'm drinking all day, every day, because that is what I would do on vacation. And so when I realized how much money I saved that first year, it allowed me to invest in myself, to invest in my health, to invest in my businesses, to invest in the things that I really wanted for my future and to fulfill this purpose in this lifetime. You'll find a lot of people that can't start their own businesses. They can't venture off into an endeavor. They can't even pay off their debt, student loans, things that you might have, car pay or auto loans, mortgage payments. That $10,000 could be going to those things, so you're paying down your debt. So things to just to think about when it comes to alcohol. Now, if you need like a support system or a group to go to, I want to give a special shout out to Sober Black Girls Club. I started off as a member with the club, but earlier in 2023, I was appointed to their board of directors. And in June, I was actually appointed to the operations manager position. So I definitely want you to check out Sober Black Girls Club. I will put their information in the description of the the description of this episode, not bio or bio. Oh God, I must be missing my Cajun life. But yes, they have weekly meetings, guys. We have meetings on Tuesdays for the LGBTQ plus identifying people. There's a meeting on Thursdays and there's a meeting on Fridays. They have in-person events. They have a medical fund to assist you with recovery. They have virtual events that they have. It's just so many great resources to assist other people that are going through their recovery process and have been through that and know exactly what you're going through. There's a mentorship program. I want to give a special shout out to that because I am a mentor with them as well. So mentoring other people that have been through what you're going through. So we have a really great support system to assist you with achieving, overcoming alcoholism. So many people. We have 25,000 plus followers. We have so many members that are just so great and have made so many positive strides to living in recovery. September is actually National Recovery Month, so shout out to that. We want to make sure that we're highlighting ways that you can get over addiction, and alcohol does not add any positivity to the body, especially to the womb. I know this is a womb wellness and a menstrual equity and puberty. I'm sorry, puberty. I'm trying to say period and poverty together. I'm sorry, a period poverty organization, but we do want to highlight our other initiatives that we support outside of this business and any other organization that is conducive to helping you become your best self. So definitely a shout out to Sober Black Girls Club. They also have a podcast, they have blogs, they have newsletters. It's just so much great information that they actually provide. So I'm going to put their information in the description of this episode and just check them out. See how they may vibe with you. You might not align with them. You may align with them, but it's cool to be around other people. It's very supportive to have other individuals that are in your shoes from all walks of life, all different age groups that can help you really achieve to where you're trying to go. All right, guys. So I also want to just challenge you. Let's just do a little challenge. Challenge yourself to a 30-day cleanse and see how your body feels. Most people don't realize that what you do with your cycle this month can have an effect up to 2 additional cycles after this. So if you start a cleanse this month, 2 months from now, you might not really get to see the full benefits and effect that it really will do for your actual cycle. So doing a 30-day cleanse just to start off, just to see, not adding alcohol into body, what does that do for you? Yes, it will assist with your optimal womb wellness, but watch your skin, your hair, your mood, how you wake up in the morning, just the headaches or common symptoms that you tend to get, the bloating, feeling so lethargic the next day. Just pay attention to all of those things. And when you start seeing the positive changes that happen, it will motivate you to be like, why do I even really need this? Am I doing it because everybody else is doing it? Am I doing it because society puts it in my brain? Or am I doing it because I'm using it as a crutch to get over other things that I'm dealing with in my life? So I challenge you, let's do 30 days and see what that does for your body. All right, guys. Now, I mentioned how much it can save, how much money you can actually save in a year, but just really just pay attention to what you could do with $10,000. Just challenge yourself, write that out, make that a journal prompt. What can I do if I save $10,000 from not drinking alcohol in 1 year? How can $10,000 help me improve my overall health and wealth? All right, guys. So to recap, we did go over chapter 15, Purified to the Fullest, and it feels so good. It is so important to us for this because this was literally the last piece of research and evidence that we needed to formulate NNG's formula to kick Cramp's ass. This was the last factor that helped us determine what was the lingering thing in our bodies that was causing us to not cramp for a few months and then we will start cramping, and not cramp for a few more months and then start cramping. It was alcohol. Giving up alcohol was that final piece of that formula. And once I figured that out, that's what made the book. This is what made the book, guys. This is what brought Kick Cramp's ass to life, was getting, sorry, my apologies for the emotions, because it was the defining factor for me not to only figure out what was conducive to me. I'm sorry. What was conducive for me to conquer my addiction, conquer my best wellness, and to get over the issues that I was dealing with in my life, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that was really hindering my health overall. So this was a very pivotal moment on why Kick Cramp's ass was birthed. So I do apologize for crying. I'm gonna do that pat as if I'm having on makeup, and I don't have on any makeup. So let me just wipe for those of you who can see me on camera. So very emotional moment, but it's a good emotion because it's a sense of joy. It was so great to know what was that defining moment that I was going to be able to help so many other people figure out how they too can kick Cramp's ass. So I just want to thank you all for tuning in and figuring out how this formula came together. All right, guys. So let's talk about upcoming events. On Sunday, October 8th is our last virtual workshop of the year. Yay! It is actually Period Action Day. So this was originally started by period.org for them to put action to bringing more light on having the taboo conversation of periods. Periods are disgusting, they're icky, they're this. No, they're not. They're a part of life. They are natural, they are normal, and they're actually pretty cool, because once you actually get over the pain and all the negative things that menstruation can do for you, and you actually start living a cramp-free life, menstruation is a beautiful process. It is something that we as menstruators get to have. It gives us the availability to produce and procreate. It gives us the availability to tap into our divine femininity. It gives us the availability to have a sense of control over our entire body from head to toe. So, it's going to be our last virtual womb wellness workshop of 2023. We're going to be giving away over $2,000 worth of items. So we will be putting that information of the event in the description of this episode. All right, guys, be sure to like our podcast, subscribe to our website to keep up with the latest news, events, resources that we have going on. We have newsletters that go out. We have monthly blogs that go out. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, because instead of just seeing our podcast on there, we have other forms of content: yoga exercises to get rid of cramps, exercise moves to get rid of cramps, other resources that will be beneficial for you in achieving optimal wellness. So we would suggest, or not suggest, we recommend and we highly encourage you to do so, because when we do come off season from the period podcast and rolling into season 2, YouTube will proactively still be producing content that is going to be beneficial for you and resources that will help you to achieve optimal womb wellness. All right, guys. So like the podcast, share it, be sure to comment to it. If you don't want to comment directly to the episode, you can email us at contact@kitcrampsass.org, which will be also in the description of this episode, so that you can have a personal conversation with us to see how we may better serve you. All right. Shout out to JJ Cicero for the banging intro. We love, love, love it. And if there's not anything else, we want to send gratitude to you for tuning in, for taking in this information. And if it didn't resonate with you, we just encourage you to do your own research and see how alcohol really truly affects your body. And then you can make the best decisions for yourself. So gratitude to you all. We want to manifest a positive, productive, and peaceful remainder of the day, the week, and a menstrual journey ahead. And if there's not anything else, we will be talking to you guys next Menstruation Monday. All right, guys. Peace.